Have you ever wondered what life as a royal really entails? Is it all glittering tiaras, grand palaces, and endless luxury? Or is there more to it than meets the eye? For the British royal family, being born into privilege comes with an extensive list of unusual and sometimes baffling rules. From avoiding certain foods to secretly signaling with handbags, their lives are governed by customs that most of us would find hard to believe. Why can't the Queen eat garlic? What's the deal with royal boys only wearing shorts? And how does Monopoly manage to get banned at family gatherings? These 20 strange royal rules offer a fascinating glimpse into the traditions, etiquette, and quirks of one of the world's most famous families. And speaking of rules, let's start with one that's quite literally for the birds. 1. The Tower Ravens, guardians of the monarchy legend, has it that the fate of the British monarchy rests on the wings of its most peculiar protectors, the Tower of London's ravens. Dating back to the reign of Charles II in the 1600s, the superstition claims that if the ravens ever leave the tower, the monarchy will fall. It might sound absurd, but King Charles II took it seriously enough to decree that at least 6 ravens must always be kept at the tower. Today, these black-feathered guardians are as much a part of royal tradition as the crown jewels themselves. Managed by an official raven master, these birds live in luxury. They have names, personalities, and even a retirement plan. For example, one raven named George was fired for eating TV antennae and relocated to the countryside. Visitors to the tower often stop to admire the ravens, but their presence isn't just ceremonial. Their care is meticulous, from their diet to their flight feathers being clipped to prevent them from flying too far. And while it might sound whimsical, the tradition of keeping the ravens is a constant reminder of how deeply history and superstition are intertwined with the British monarchy. Transitioning from this centuries-old superstition, let's explore another rule steeped in history: the strict protocols for mourning a monarch. 2. Mourning a monarch, a nation in silence. When a monarch passes, the British royal family doesn't just grieve privately, they lead an entire nation in mourning. The moment the Queen's death is announced, the United Kingdom enters an extraordinary 12-day mourning period, during which life as people know it takes a somber turn. Laughter, comedy shows, and even cheerful music on public channels are forbidden. Instead, the airwaves are filled with pre-recorded documentaries and tributes handpicked by the Queen herself. Flags are lowered to half-mast, and public events are scaled back or cancelled altogether. The Queen will lie in state at Westminster Hall, where thousands of mourners are expected to pay their respects. But it doesn't stop there. The royal family, known for their stoic public appearances, adheres to strict protocols during this time. They wear black attire and limit public engagements to solemn occasions. One of the most peculiar traditions is the Queen's request to ban laughter. Yes, you read that right. No laughter for 12 days. It's her way of ensuring the entire nation reflects on her legacy with the reverence she feels is deserved. While some may see this as over the top, it highlights how deeply entrenched respect and decorum are in royal customs. As the period of mourning ends with her burial, the Queen's rule has left one final mark, a moment of silence across the nation. Speaking of silence, let's look at a rule that flips the mood entirely: the Queen's 2 birthdays. 3. The Queen's 2 birthdays. One day isn't enough. Most of us get just one birthday a year, but when you're the monarch, 2 birthdays are apparently the norm. Queen Elizabeth II celebrates her actual birthday on April 21st, often quietly with her family. However, her official birthday is celebrated on the 2nd Saturday of June with much fanfare, including the grand parade known as Trooping the Colour. This peculiar tradition dates back to 1748, when King George II decided his November birthday wasn't ideal for outdoor celebrations. Instead, he moved his official birthday to June, ensuring better weather for a grand military parade. The idea stuck, and now every British monarch enjoys the privilege of a summer birthday party, regardless of their actual birth date. For the Queen, the June celebrations include a spectacular display of pomp and pageantry. The parade, featuring hundreds of soldiers in ceremonial uniforms, is accompanied by breathtaking flyovers by the Royal Air Force. In addition to the parade, There are gun salutes to mark both birthdays: 41 guns in Hyde Park, 21 in Windsor Great Park, and an impressive 62 at the Tower of London. While her official birthday is a public affair, her actual birthday is more personal. The Queen spends it surrounded by family, though the day is still marked by traditional gun salutes at midday. This dual birthday tradition is just one of many ways the British monarchy blends public duty with personal celebration. And now, from birthday celebrations to travel preparation, let's explore a royal rule about always packing for the unexpected. 4. Always packing mourning clothes, prepared for the unexpected. The royal family's commitment to tradition and propriety extends even to their suitcases. Whenever they travel, whether for a weekend getaway or a diplomatic tour, there's one peculiar rule they must follow. Always pack a black mourning outfit. This isn't a fashion statement, it's a deeply ingrained custom rooted in history. This unusual requirement stems from a moment of unpreparedness in 1952. Then Princess Elizabeth was visiting Kenya when she learned of her father, King George VI's sudden death. As she rushed back to the UK, she had no mourning attire to wear upon arrival. This oversight led to a now strict rule: every royal must be prepared for the possibility of tragedy while abroad. The reasoning is both practical and symbolic. Should a death occur, the royals must immediately appear somber and respectful. Photographs and public appearances demand that they dress appropriately, signaling their mourning to the world. A stark black outfit serves as a visual cue of grief and respect, a critical element in maintaining the monarchy's public image. Even in modern times, with meticulous planning and media management, this rule is steadfastly followed. It's a poignant reminder that, for the royals, duty and tradition come before personal convenience. And while this preparedness is rooted in loss, another royal rule is rooted in safety, one that keeps their plates free of a certain delicacy. Let's dive into the curious case of the royal family's strict no shellfish policy. 5. No shellfish allowed. Playing it safe. For most of us, a luxurious seafood dinner might include oysters, lobster, or shrimp. But for the British royal family, shellfish is strictly off the menu. This rule, while not a law, is a precautionary measure against food poisoning and allergic reactions. The rationale is simple. When you're in the public eye as often as the royals are, a bout of food poisoning could cause a very public embarrassment, or worse, disrupt critical royal engagements. Shellfish is considered a high-risk food due to its susceptibility to contamination and spoilage. It's not just shellfish, though. The royal family also avoids other potentially problematic foods, such as rare meat and overly spicy dishes, especially when traveling abroad. The aim is to minimize the risk of illness while representing the crown. Despite its practicality, this rule can feel restrictive, especially when visiting regions where seafood is a staple. For instance, imagine a royal tour of Japan without sushi or a trip to the Mediterranean without prawns. However, these sacrifices are seen as small prices to pay for maintaining health and decorum. Interestingly, it's not just food safety at play here. The royals' dining choices reflect their duty to avoid unnecessary risks in all areas of life. And speaking of risks, the Queen has a personal dislike that extends beyond shellfish, garlic. Let's explore why this particular ingredient is notably absent from royal menus. 6. The garlic ban. A royal snub to a culinary staple, garlic, one of the most beloved ingredients in kitchens around the world, is surprisingly absent from the menus of Buckingham Palace. The reason? It's no secret that Queen Elizabeth II has a personal dislike for the pungent aroma and taste of garlic. As a result, this staple of global cuisine has been unofficially banned from any meal prepared for her or hosted in her name. While this may seem like an arbitrary preference, it actually serves a practical purpose, especially during official engagements. The royal family frequently meets heads of state, dignitaries, and other prominent figures, and garlic breath during such encounters would hardly make for a good impression. This simple yet strategic choice ensures their interactions remain pleasant, at least in terms of proximity. But garlic isn't the only item scrutinized. When visiting foreign countries or dining with international leaders, the royal kitchen often sends a detailed list of dietary preferences and restrictions to the host staff. One such list for the Queen reportedly spanned 6 pages and included additional specifics such as avoiding overly messy dishes like long pasta or tomato-heavy sauces. This aversion to garlic might seem extreme, but it highlights the thoughtfulness behind even the smallest details of royal life. Every choice serves a purpose, blending personal preference with diplomatic considerations. Speaking of dining etiquette, let's now delve into an even more peculiar rule. The one where the entire room stops eating when the Queen puts down her fork. 7. Dining with the Queen, forks down, when she's done. Dining with the Queen is an event steeped in tradition, but it also comes with one strict rule. When Her Majesty puts down her fork, everyone else must stop eating too. This long-standing custom, though seemingly arbitrary, is a subtle reminder of the monarchy's position at the helm of decorum and etiquette. The origins of this rule can be traced back to Queen Victoria, whose famously brisk eating habits left her guests scrambling to keep up. Legend has it that her 7-course meals often took less than half an hour to finish. While Queen Elizabeth II is known to dine at a more measured pace, the tradition persists, ensuring that the Queen sets the tone for the dining experience. For guests at a royal banquet, this rule can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's an honor to dine in the Queen's presence. On the other hand, it requires keeping a close eye on her movements, lest one be caught mid-bite when she signals the meal's end. This protocol is upheld during state banquets, intimate family meals, and even informal gatherings, reinforcing the monarchy's commitment to etiquette. Despite its rigidity, this rule also reflects the meticulous nature of royal life. Every detail, down to the rhythm of a meal, is carefully choreographed. From forks to food, royal dining is as much about tradition as it is about taste. But while human dining etiquette is strict, royal dogs seem to enjoy a level of luxury and freedom that's unmatched. Let's take a look at how these pampered pooches live. 8. The pampered lives of royal dogs. Dining in style. When it comes to living in luxury, the royal family's dogs may just take the crown. From corgis to dorgas, a corgi-dachshund mix, the Queen's beloved pets have been enjoying a life of unparalleled comfort for decades. One of the most fascinating aspects of their pampered existence? Their meals are prepared with as much care as a banquet for royalty. The dog's daily menu is meticulously planned by their caretaker, often including gourmet selections like chicken, lamb, or rabbit. The palace chefs ensure the meals are free of bones and carefully diced into bite-sized portions. These meals are then served on silver platters in order of each dog's seniority, a detail that highlights the structured, almost ceremonial approach even the pets adhere to. But the luxury doesn't end with food. Unlike the staff, palace dogs are never scolded and are allowed to roam freely even during formal events. This rule has led to several amusing incidents, including the dogs occasionally interrupting meetings or public appearances. While their meals and freedoms seem extravagant, these pets reflect the Queen's softer side. Her love for her dogs has been a defining feature of her public image, embodying warmth and relatability amidst the formality of royal life. From canine luxuries, we now shift to human attire, specifically, the royal family's strict fashion rules. Let's explore how head coverings play a significant role in royal appearances. 9. Hats and head coverings, rules of royal fashion. Fashion in the British royal family is more than just an aesthetic choice, it's a carefully curated expression of tradition and symbolism. One of the most distinctive aspects of royal attire is the use of hats and head coverings, governed by long-standing rules that reflect status, occasion, and even marital status. During daytime events, royal women are expected to wear hats, a tradition that harks back to an era when it was considered improper for upper-class women to appear in public without a head covering. The designs range from elegant and understated to bold and whimsical, often drawing as much attention as the events themselves. However, when the clock strikes 6 p.m., the rules change, hats come off and tiaras come on, but only for married women. Unmarried royal women, such as Princess Diana in her early years or Princess Beatrice before marriage, don't wear tiaras at evening events. The absence of a tiara subtly signals their eligibility, a nod to historical customs where headpieces were symbols of marital status. This protocol may seem outdated, but it remains a key part of royal appearances. Even modern royals like Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle adhere to these traditions while occasionally adding their own personal flair. Hats and tiaras may seem like accessories to the untrained eye, but for the royal family they're much more, a blend of history, status, and storytelling. Next, we'll explore another fascinating rule: why royal boys under 8 always wear shorts, even in the dead of winter. 10. Why royal boys always wear shorts. A nod to tradition. If you've ever noticed young royal boys like Prince George braving chilly weather in shorts, you might wonder, why not trousers? This strict dress code is steeped in aristocratic tradition. For centuries, it's been customary for boys in the royal family to wear shorts until about the age of 8, when they graduate to trousers, a rite of passage symbolizing their transition from childhood to boyhood. Historically, trousers were considered too formal for young boys and associated with adulthood. Shorts, on the other hand, represented a more innocent stage of life, a visual cue that set apart the young aristocracy from the working or middle class. This practice persists even today, not as a sign of elitism, but as a way to maintain a connection to the family's heritage and traditions. Even during winter, you'll rarely see a young royal in trousers. Thick socks and tailored coats often accompany their shorts, blending tradition with practicality. Interestingly, this dress code is not a hard rule, but more of an unwritten expectation within royal circles. When Prince George wore trousers to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding in 2018, it marked a rare exception, underscoring the formality of the occasion. This subtle adherence to tradition reflects how the royal family balances modernity with centuries-old customs. And while young royals must follow tradition, the Queen herself often breaks it, at least with her bright and bold wardrobe choices. Let's delve into why the Queen always dresses so colorfully. 11. The Queen's bright wardrobe, visibility and vibrance. One of the Queen's most iconic traits is her wardrobe, bright, bold, and unmistakable. From vibrant yellows to electric blues, her outfits are never subtle, and that's entirely intentional. The reason? Her Majesty believes that her visibility is a key part of her role. "I have to be seen to be believed," she famously said, and her wardrobe reflects this philosophy. When attending public events, the Queen's bright colors ensure that she stands out in even the largest crowds. Whether it's a sea of fans waving Union Jacks or a military parade in full regalia, her choice of clothing allows her to remain the focal point. This practicality is paired with her signature matching hats, gloves, and handbags, creating a polished and memorable image. The Queen's outfits aren't just about making a statement. They're meticulously designed for comfort and functionality. For instance, her shoes are always broken in by a member of staff before she wears them, ensuring they fit perfectly. Even her umbrellas are customized with see-through panels so that people can see her face during rainy events. Interestingly, her wardrobe is not only vibrant, but also deeply symbolic. Colors are chosen to match the tone of the event, and subtle embroidery often reflects the culture of the countries she visits. Her fashion, while bold, is a thoughtful extension of her duties. From vibrant outfits to regal accessories, let's now shift to another royal privilege: the Queen's exemption from carrying a passport. 12. Why the Queen doesn't need a passport. A royal perk. For most of us, traveling abroad requires a passport, a vital document stamped with visas and official seals. However, for the Queen of the United Kingdom, this rule doesn't apply. Her Majesty doesn't carry a passport, and the reason lies in the document's very wording. British passports are issued in the name of the monarch, making it unnecessary for the Queen to issue one to herself. The same logic applies to driver's licenses. Despite being chauffeured for most of her life, the Queen learned to drive during World War II when she joined the Auxiliary Territorial Service. Since then, she has been seen behind the wheel on private estates but never needed an official license to do so. It's a privilege unique to her position as sovereign. However, these exemptions apply solely to the reigning monarch. Other members of the royal family, including the Prince of Wales and the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, must follow the same rules as everyone else. When they travel, they carry their passports just like any other British citizen. While these royal perks may seem extravagant, they're rooted in practicality and tradition. The Queen's life is governed by protocol, and these privileges simplify her role as a global ambassador. But even without a passport, Her Majesty has her ways of communicating effectively, often through her famous handbag. Let's delve into how the Queen uses her handbag to send subtle signals to her staff. 13. The Queen's handbag, a silent communicator. The Queen's handbag is more than just a stylish accessory, it's a powerful tool for silent communication. Whether she's attending a state banquet or mingling with guests at a garden party, Her Majesty uses her handbag to send subtle signals to her staff, ensuring every interaction runs smoothly. One of the most well-known signals is the simple act of shifting her handbag from one arm to the other. This discreet gesture indicates that the Queen is ready to move on from a conversation, prompting her staff to step in and gently usher her away. If she places her handbag on the table during a meal, it's a clear message that she wishes the event to conclude within 5 minutes. And when her handbag is placed on the floor, that's her subtle way of expressing that she's not enjoying the conversation and needs rescuing. Her Majesty also carries practical items in her bag, including a mirror, lipstick, and a small hook with a suction cup, which she uses to hang her bag discreetly under tables. This attention to detail reflects the Queen's desire to remain poised and in control at all times, even during social events. The Queen's handbag is a perfect example of how even the smallest details in royal life serve a purpose. From signals to practicality, her handbag is a testament to the balance of elegance and efficiency. Speaking of accessories, let's explore how other royals, like Kate and Meghan, use clutches to manage social interactions. 14. Clutches as social buffers, a royal defense mechanism. When it comes to royal accessories, clutches aren't just for style, they serve a practical purpose, especially for royal women like Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle. These small bags act as subtle social buffers, helping the royals navigate interactions in public while maintaining their composure and following strict protocols. One key use of the clutch is to avoid unwanted handshakes. Since protocol dictates that members of the public shouldn't initiate physical contact with royals, holding a clutch at waist level with both hands sends a polite signal that a handshake isn't on the table, literally or figuratively. This allows the royals to maintain an air of grace while avoiding potentially awkward moments. Clutches are also strategically used during formal events. For example, placing a clutch on the table can subtly communicate readiness to move on to the next part of the engagement, similar to how the Queen uses her handbag for silent communication. Additionally, the clutches provide a discreet way to fidget or adjust during long events without appearing nervous or distracted. What's fascinating is how these small accessories combine functionality with royal etiquette, blending tradition with modern practicality. They're not just an accessory, they're a subtle extension of the royals' carefully curated image. From clutches to brooches, let's now explore how the Queen uses her jewelry as a tool for diplomacy, and at times a clever way to send messages without saying a word. 15. Brooches as diplomatic statements, jewels that speak volumes. The Queen's brooch collection is legendary, featuring pieces that sparkle with diamonds, rubies, and historical significance. But these glittering accessories are more than just decorative. They're carefully chosen to reflect her mood, allegiance, or even her subtle commentary during diplomatic events. One famous example is her choice of brooches during President Donald Trump's visit to the UK in 2018. On one occasion, she wore a brooch gifted by the Obamas, symbolizing her strong ties with the former US President and First Lady. On another day, she chose the Canadian snowflake brooch, a nod to Canada's long-standing relationship with the Crown. While the Queen never comments directly on her sartorial choices, royal watchers and analysts often decode her jewelry as statements of goodwill or subtle shade. Brooches also play a significant role during state visits and international tours. When meeting foreign dignitaries, the Queen often selects brooches with connections to the host country, subtly showing respect and strengthening diplomatic ties. For instance, she's been known to wear a shamrock-shaped brooch during Irish engagements or a fern design for New Zealand. What makes this practice so fascinating is its quiet sophistication. While the world watches her every move, the Queen uses her jewelry to communicate thoughtfully without uttering a word. It's a testament to how even the smallest details in royal life carry immense significance. And speaking of subtle signals, let's now examine how the royals handle something far more personal, seeking permission to marry. 16. Seeking permission to marry. A royal obligation. For most couples, the decision to get married is a deeply personal one. But for members of the British royal family, it's not so simple. Until 2013, descendants of King George II were legally required to obtain the reigning monarch's permission before proposing marriage. This law, known as the Royal Marriages Act of 1772, was introduced to prevent royals from marrying individuals who could undermine the prestige or influence of the monarchy. Over the years, this law has shaped numerous royal unions and rejections. For example, King Edward VIII famously abdicated the throne in 1936 to marry Wallis Simpson, an American divorcee, because their marriage lacked royal approval. The act's influence was far-reaching, even applying to distant descendants of the royal family. The introduction of the Succession to the Crown Act in 2013 modernized this rule. Now, only the first 6 people in line to the throne must seek the monarch's consent to marry. This change allowed greater personal freedom while preserving the integrity of the royal lineage. While the rule may seem antiquated, it underscores the monarchy's role in maintaining public trust and upholding tradition. Royals cannot afford to be seen as reckless or impulsive when it comes to partnerships. They are representatives of the nation, after all. From marriage permissions to wedding preparations, royal weddings are as meticulously planned as they are symbolic. Let's now dive into how the Queen herself plays a pivotal role in approving royal wedding dresses. 17. Wedding dresses. The Queen's final seal of approval. A royal wedding is an event that captures global attention, and the bride's dress is always the centerpiece. But did you know that the Queen has the final say on what the bride wears? While modern royal brides like Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle have some creative freedom, the monarch's approval is a non-negotiable part of the process. This tradition is rooted in the idea that royal weddings are not just personal celebrations, they are state occasions that reflect the dignity of the monarchy. Every detail of the dress, from its silhouette to its fabric, must align with the values and traditions of the royal family. For instance, modesty is key, with designs carefully balancing elegance and formality. When Meghan Markle's dress was unveiled during her wedding to Prince Harry in 2018, it was clear that the Queen's stamp of approval had been thoughtfully integrated. The gown, designed by Claire Waite-Keller, featured a boat neckline and 3/4 sleeves, exuding timeless sophistication. The intricate veil embroidered with flowers representing the Commonwealth nations was a nod to the Queen's commitment to unity. While the Queen may not dictate every detail, her role ensures that royal weddings maintain a sense of tradition and grandeur. From tiaras to trains, every element is carefully considered to reflect the legacy of the monarchy. With royal weddings steeped in tradition, let's turn to a lighter topic: how the royal family approaches games and leisure, and why Monopoly is banned at their gatherings. 18. Monopoly ban. When games get too competitive. For many families, a round of Monopoly is a beloved way to spend an evening, albeit one that often ends in squabbles. For the British royal family, however, the iconic board game is completely off-limits during family gatherings. The reason? It's considered too vicious. Yes, you read that right. This unusual rule was revealed in 2008 when Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, was presented with a Monopoly set at an event. His response? "We're not allowed to play Monopoly at home. It gets too vicious." While he didn't elaborate, it's not hard to imagine how the competitive nature of the game could spark tensions even among the royals. The ban might also reflect the family's desire to maintain harmony during their limited private time together. With their lives so often in the public eye, the last thing they need is to let a game night spiral into a heated debate over hotels on Park Lane. That said, the royal family isn't devoid of fun and games. Charades is a beloved tradition during their Christmas celebrations, with the Queen herself reportedly excelling at impressions. This lighter, more collaborative game ensures that everyone enjoys themselves without risking rivalries. Monopoly's ban is a quirky reminder that even the royals have to manage family dynamics. Speaking of family, let's explore another rule steeped in royal tradition: the luxurious lives of their pets, who are treated like true aristocrats. 19. Royal pets, paws of privilege. The British royal family's love for animals, particularly dogs, is legendary, and no one embodies this affection more than the Queen herself. Over her reign, Queen Elizabeth II has owned more than 30 corgis, making the breed synonymous with royalty. But these pets don't just live like any ordinary dogs, they enjoy a life of privilege that rivals that of humans. Each royal dog has its own individually prepared menu, featuring dishes like chicken, lamb, and rabbit. The meals are carefully designed by a caretaker and prepared by the palace chefs, who ensure there are no bones or other hazards. The dogs' meals are even served on silver platters, and they're fed in strict order of seniority, a truly regal touch. But their pampered lives don't stop at fine dining. Royal dogs are allowed to roam freely within the palace, even during formal events. Palace staff are strictly forbidden from scolding or disciplining them, and their every need is attended to with the utmost care. This rule highlights the Queen's deep affection for her pets and her belief that they should be treated with respect and kindness. The royal pets are more than just companions, they're symbols of the family's softer, more relatable side. While their lives may seem extravagant, they remind us that even monarchs find joy in the unconditional love of their furry friends. From the lives of royal pets to the lives of royals themselves, let's turn our attention to how the monarchy balances tradition with modernity in every aspect of their lives. 20. Always traveling in pairs. An heir and a spare. One of the lesser-known but crucial rules for the British royal family involves how they travel. Direct heirs to the throne are typically not allowed to travel together on the same plane, train, or car. This rule ensures that in the unfortunate event of an accident, the royal lineage remains secure. It's a pragmatic approach to safeguarding the continuity of the monarchy, even if it adds complexity to their travel plans. For example, Prince William and his eldest son, Prince George, have occasionally traveled together, but only with special permission from the Queen. As George grows older, this rule will likely be enforced more strictly, requiring the young prince to travel separately from his father. The same protocol applies to other heirs in the line of succession, ensuring that no two immediate successors are put at unnecessary risk. This rule isn't just a precaution. It's a reflection of the monarchy's deep-rooted commitment to preserving its structure and stability. While modern transportation is far safer than it once was, the royal family remains vigilant about this practice, emphasizing its importance with each new generation. Interestingly, this rule also influences how royals approach their public duties. When traveling abroad, members of the family often divide their responsibilities, representing the crown on multiple fronts to maximize their impact. It's a strategic tradition that showcases the monarchy's ability to adapt to a global stage while maintaining its core principles. With this, we have reached the end of today's video. If you have come this far with us, be sure to check out other videos on the channel.